So I'm noticing a growing negative sentiment, negativity bias within the Marvel Rivals community. And if you guys don't know, on this channel, I try to make very positive videos, right? Even though I can talk about topics that aren't necessarily positive in essence, or topic matter that's more mature or has some dramatic and negative undertones sometimes, I try to curve everything into something good. That's what I try to do. So that's what I'm trying to do with this video. And I want to talk about these bad things, not to just say that they are bad, but I want to draw attention to the alternative to those. So I've seen a lot of negativity within the Marvel Rivals community. There's a ton everywhere, but this is specifically focused on this community because I think it's a good case to showcase what I'm talking about. There is a growing, just festering negativity cloud over the game. There's so many people talking about bad things, problems that they have. You know, there's doomer type of ideas floating around where so many people just, and it's not everyone, right? Let's get that understood. There's actually a great many people that just enjoy the game. They don't interact with any content outside of maybe like simple stuff, but generally they just play the game. Maybe they play with their friends on like the weekend or something and they go on with their lives. Maybe they play something else, right? They don't play the game all the time. A lot of this actually comes from people who are on like Reddit, you know, people on Discord servers, Twitter, you know, maybe TikTok even, maybe even some YouTube, some Twitch streams you could even say. But a lot of people who are deep into the community who are discussing these things. And I want to actually compare this to the Tekken community. So Tekken has a community where they are very vocal about a lot of things. And Tekken 8 recently had a really bad patch. Within that patch, there were some astronomically horrible changes that to many said ruined the game. Now, some people think it's coming back, right? Like it's coming back and coming to its own. It's going to get fixed pretty soon. And they want to let people know that it's going to be better, right? And others think it's going to be horrible and it's going to get worse and it's never going to get better. Some already left. Right? And my point is, people are going to leave, even though it is a thing where maybe it does get better. People will still leave because of their interaction with the game, maybe the community with like cheater problems, whatever it is. They're interacting with these problems within the game and they just leave. That's most people. But the ones that stay and stick with the game, they're going to be one of two people. They're going to be positive people who are ready for the game to improve. That's probably why they're staying in the first place. For most people, they want the game to improve and they have a good idea and they have this viewpoint in their mind that they believe it will. Maybe based on whatever the developer said or something else, right? Maybe some changes that happened recently, who knows? But then we have the other people who stay just to hate on the game. Similar situation is happening over here with Rivals, but not in the same facet, right? So there's a toxic, right, community around Tekken that I was talking about, but it's nowhere near the dilutedness that happens over in Rivals. Again, it's not everyone, but so many people are staying around the game just to fester this negativity. They're talking about it. They're hating on it. They're staying around. They want to farm drama off of it. All this different stuff. They want to make negative content all about it. They want to say, oh, it's all doomed. Now, I will say there's actually also an influx of positive content in the game too, but a lot of the ones that are rising to the top, a lot of the ones that are not only rising to the top, but also just kind of standing out and being like talked about a lot of people are talking about them, right, and referencing them, are just negative stuff. For example, stuff with like Necros or something like that. He's a creator who's like a streamer and he plays like Spider-Man in this game. He came from like Overwatch, but point is, he creates content on the game. And he said some things about like the support community and like some weird drama. Basically, he just said a lot of things that certain players in the game didn't like. And it made it so many people got to talking about that. So many people covered that. And it built this kind of cloud. It wasn't the main thing that built it, but people will talk about different things like, okay, well, here's this problem and here's this problem. And this is the real problem. And they're talking about game balance and all this different stuff. But then we go into game balance and it's like, okay, game balance? I get that you don't like that Thor has been changed in a way. You don't like that Jeff has been changed, and you don't like these other changes. You don't like certain metas. You don't like snipers. Maybe you don't like divers. Maybe you don't like this character, that character. You think this character's broken. You think this meta's annoying. Whatever it is not that bad. Trust me. You think, oh, okay, well, Ultron's horrible, possibly, and all this different stuff. He's going to be garbage, or maybe he's going to be too good. There's two opposite spectrums, like, oh, he's going to be amazing, or he's going to be horrible. But it's not even just that you have these opinions, because you can have them, right? But it's not that bad. Not only is it not that bad, as I'm comparing it to like the Tekken situation I'm talking about, where the game was fundamentally just upended in some amazingly crazy type of way. Not only is it not that bad. But also this situation is where it's like these small issues, or maybe they're slightly bigger, are just blown out of proportion by some people. They're just blown out of proportion, and then they tie it into, now the game is dead. Now the game's dying. They'll look at player numbers. The player numbers dipped a little bit, and they're like, oh yeah, it's not as good as it was at its peak. It's not as good as it was months ago. It's not as good as like it was yesterday. It's like, okay, yeah, we get it. It has less player, but it ain't dying. You can't, and even if it was quote unquote dying, which would, here's the thing, if it was dying, we would know. If it was dying, we would know, because it would be hard to get games. As long as there's enough games for you to consistently gain those almost like instant queues that you still get, right? And they're not going to be usually longer than like a minute max, depending, right? Because in some type of comps, like if you go into a 6 comp, like a full stack, it will naturally take longer, and also high ranks usually take a little bit longer. But either way, you're not usually going to be in big long queues unless you're, I don't know, outside of the US, maybe the EU, maybe you're outside of these big areas where a lot of people play. Then maybe we can talk about that. But otherwise, the actual general player base is still there. We don't need to constantly, like, why do you care so much? That's my question. Why do you care so much about how many people are playing a game that you're not even getting money from? They're not putting no money in your pockets for them having more players. No, not at all. Why do you care so much? First of all, the game's not dying. So if the game was like literally dying, like about to be dead, maybe we can start talking. But it's not. It's not. So right now, with how it is, we're perfectly fine. Why do you care so much that it loses a few people here and there? It's lost like a decent amount of people. It had so many people before, but now it's like at a normal level. Yeah, it's at a normal level. It's at a normal level. It's at the level that you would expect for a game at this size, maybe at this type of company, that's this style of game. This is what you would expect. Actually, in some realms, you could even see it as more. It could be more than you would think, right? Than we would usually expect, right? My issue here is that basically y'all need to touch grass. I don't even mean literally, I mean figuratively, and actually, you know what, literally as well, why not? But point is, just do something else. Interact with something else, someone else. Do something else. Anything. Read a book. I don't know. Point is, it's too much. Take a break from the game. That's it. If it's getting on your mental this bad, you hate all this stuff, get away from it then. And another issue that I have is around the toxicity. I have had the chat, voice chat, I've had turned off since pretty much the beginning of the game. I don't turn voice chat on in games. It's always toxic. The amount of times I've turned it on and it's horrible are staggering. I keep it off. But also, I turned off text chat like maybe some point starting last season or so. I've had it off pretty much all of season 2. So I don't type in chat. I just play the game. I just log in and I play the game. So granted, I don't even see a lot of this stuff, like this negativity that people are talking about, all this toxicity in the game naturally within the game. I see it outside of the game, right? And it's just generally like people are farming it too. They're farming these negative clicks on like, oh, the game is dying, oh, all this horrible stuff, Overwatch better, all this different stuff, comparing games for some reason. What are we comparing for? What are we doing this for? Go play that other game if you want to play it. Go play this game if you want to play it. Just play whatever you want. What I want to do is shift the narrative. Let's start making content about stuff that we like. Granted, it exists. There is plenty of content, but let's boost them up. If content is positive or it taught you something, or it's just a nice video about Marvel Rivals or any other content, I guess you could say, let's boost it up. Give it some likes, give it some traction, share it around. Let's try to keep it more positive. Let's go into the next season that's coming out with some positivity, even if you end up not liking it. If you don't end up liking it, leave. Tell the developers that you don't like it, but don't go overboard. Just say, I don't like the game. I have a problem, developers. Let them know simply, and then leave it. What did I do with Tekken? I voiced my concerns, of course not publicly on this channel just yet, but I said that I didn't like it, and I left. And I stopped playing it. Answer with your wallet. Answer with your time. Choose not to engage in it. Just that simple. But that's about it for this video. Make sure to subscribe or don't. Leave a like or a dislike. Let me know what you think, and I'll catch you in the next one, hopefully. Peace. Peace.